How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with The Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Die Hard. This is from 1988, directed by John McTiernan, stars Bruce Willis, Reginald VelJohnson, Bonnie Bedelia, and of course, Alan Rickman. Now, this is based on the novel Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorp, and this movie is considered to be one of the absolute best alternative Christmas movies. It's not all about snow or Santa or learning to find joy in the holidays or anything like that, but it is an office Christmas party that gets beset by terrorists, and we get some really fun out there crazy action moments where like classic Christmas songs are retuned to be for an action scene. And it is a really good movie, and I'm glad that action fans have something to enjoy year after year. It's pretty cool, but it's also really, really good. And I mean, I guess that should go without saying. I mean, it's Die Hard, it's an absolute classic. But I think some people, the more stuffy critics, might go, oh, it's an action movie, and oh, they made a million sequels, whatever. But no, Die Hard is a really, really good movie. It has got so much going for it. It really is masterfully directed in the shot choice and storytelling. I mean, John McClane is upset about his crumbling marriage, and you get this shot of him just seeing a happy couple hug and just having this sad look on Bruce Willis's face. You get so much story across in one shot. You get several iconic shots like in the air vents or jumping away from the explosions, but there is really, really good other shots that don't get their credit. Character going down a hallway and just a sliver of the screen. You barely see a guy with a gun at the other end of the hallway. Tension right there. There's a shot I love that is not super important, but a wide of John, a model in front of him. He pans down. We get the model in close-up for a second, and as John's hiding under the table, we get the legs of the table creating these really weird and interesting compositions. This movie is very, very well directed, and of course, very well acted, with John McClane versus Hans Gruber being one of the best hero-villain pair-ups in quite some time. John McClane is an everyman character from New York. He's going to a place where he doesn't really feel welcome. Some guy on the plane tells him to take off his shoes, and now he's barefoot in a white tank top, literally almost having nothing on him. The extreme underdog character. All the people at this office building are, Californian elitist businessman, and he's an honest-to-goodness New York cop who's on the streets every day. And then when the terrorists come in, you have Hans Gruber, who is one of the best, most maniacal villains. The way he reads everything in that voice. I have a machine gun now. Ho, ho, ho. It's just maniacal, just in the acting alone, but then you get like a scene where he shoots someone unexpectedly and you know how dangerous it is. You get the way that he has this whole thing, a big elaborate heist set up down to the T. It's all running like clockwork. And even his henchmen, a lot of them have a ton of personality. This overly cocky computer nerd. There are these two brothers, and one of them dies early on, and the other's on this quest for vengeance. For real, I'd put most of Hans Gruber's henchmen above most of the MCU villains. They're really good, but the back and forth that the two have between each other, they don't see each other for a good chunk of the movie, and it's the way they interact indirectly the way that some nobody is foiling his plans, but the way he's always one step behind him. I'm going to pull the fire alarm. That's going to get the police here. We'll redirect him. We'll excuse it. I'm going to finally get on the radio. Well, we'll work to send the cops away, and we know that if you're getting reception, you must be on the roof. And the way they, constantly bat at each other, it's almost like a Red Eye style, almost a confinement thriller of him constantly looking for every single way out and just not getting it. Not even getting a pair of shoes because the first guy he kills' feet are too small. He really is under the wire, and that really is one of the themes of this movie. Hans Gruber says, "You're just a guy. You've seen too much movies. You're not an action star. Just sit back and ignore this situation, and everything's gonna be okay." But he knows that's not the truth. He knows that if he does nothing, the terrorists are going to wreck up the place. And he knows that the government is incompetent. When the police show up, they're not doing their job good enough. And everyone's telling him, just lay low, John. And he's in there, he's in the vents, and he's like, yeah, we'll have a few drinks, we'll have a few laughs. But he knows that the situation is spiraling out of control. He's the only one who can take care of it. And he has to, just as this nobody, take down all these guys by himself, It's just really great. Without further ado, I do want to talk a bit about the plot. In order to analyze it further, I'll be avoiding major spoilers, but I do want to talk about some plot specifics in more depth. So without further ado, a little bit about the plot. We open up with Bruce Willis, and he has accidentally gotten invited to the Christmas party at his wife's work. Now, him and his wife aren't divorced, but they are separated, and I really like what's driving them apart. Bruce Willis has his life and his purpose. He's a New York cop. He wants to keep people safe, and he knows what he's doing. He has his life in New York. Well, the wife has gotten a job at a Californian company, literally the opposite side of the country, and she's now found her purpose in life on the exact opposite side of the country. It's like, I shouldn't be mad that you're pursuing your dreams, but I very much have my own place, and we're being physically driven apart by our paths in life, despite the fact that we're married, we have kids, and we've built a life together. We're being pulled apart, and what do we do about it? And it's not good, like, when he gets there, and I've already talked about, seeing the couple and the visual storytelling there, and we do get some dialogue between him and a funny limo driver, but it's not too expository. And we even get just a little thing, like he goes up to a touchscreen computer in 1988, so this was super high tech, and he sees his wife is listed her name under her maiden name. Just these little stabs at him, And then they will eventually have a flare-up shortly after they meet. He's getting changed, and she storms off, and now John's alone for a bit. But it's a good thing that he is alone, because why he's alone, that's when the terrorists come in, and he's the only one who's not supposed to be there, and he's separated from the group, so he is the variable. And boy, do you see their plan go down. Casually walk in, talking about the game, switch to attack mode, and get that first guy totally unexpectedly. The computer guy walks in there, starts getting into things and laughing and joking like it's no big deal. One of his guys casually pulls out a freaking chainsaw and is cutting through the phone lines. Yeah, this is a well-oiled machine, and it's super interesting from a heist movie perspective as well. But of course, John's not gonna just stand by and let this happen, especially after they kill the first guy. He knows things are up, and he is going to have to by himself go through all this. I do like he does eventually make a friend with a fellow cop when he finally gets his radio. And I do love the relationship that these two have between each other. I mean, the other cop isn't even introduced right away. And when he meets him, John's not saying anything about himself or even his name, but the guy at the other end goes, I know this guy. Instinctively, he's a fellow cop. We know each other there. And that is a good bit of character building, and they actually get a ton of emotion out of this other character as well. And then you get, of course, the big critique of society. Like, a lot of people say the police being so incompetent on the higher-ups. You know, you get the chief of police or deputy chief or something, and then you get the FBI guys, and a lot of people are like, they couldn't possibly be that stupid. That's not a flaw. That's the point of the movie. Back in the day, when you could have an honest-to-goodness, real good message, don't ever trust your government. And to see these people just totally fumble the situation, to see the news bringing in some pompous psychiatrist talking about the psychology of the terrorist, meanwhile we see Hans Gruber and we know this is totally not what's going on. It really does do a good job about picking out why you can't just trust people to do stuff for you. They're not gonna do it right. Needless to say, though, we get some cool, big, iconic moments, and it really does play out fun. Several cool action sequences. John is always up against the ropes against a very formidable villain, and it just plays out super, super well. It won't say what it is, but there's a very iconic shot at the end of the movie, and it's just one of those moments where it all just pays off and you're like, yeah, that was a cool movie. It really not too many flaws. I will say at over 2 hours the movie is a little bit long, but it's still good, and it's better to let it soak in and let everything play out proper. But like, there's a scene with the news and his kids that takes up a bit of time, and you could have gotten to this point a little quicker. It's not really a big deal, but the movie is a tiny bit too long, I would say. But at the same time, is it really that bad to have more Die Hard, you know? It's gonna be one of those things you watch during Christmas break and you just want to take the time and savor it, you know, building up towards Christmas, you know? Anyway, definitely a classic, definitely recommend it. Action fans, Christmas fans, definitely a must-watch. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. Should be my Christmas movies playlist. I've talked about a lot of fun and interesting stuff, so if you want to see more Christmas stuff, you can click right here. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.